The most famous female appearances on Star Trek. Taking a trip in a spaceship would be a lot of fun. Imagine if you spent all your time traveling through the universe and finding new places to visit. You might meet some nice aliens, some possibly dangerous enemy forces, or even some really hot babes. Star Trek is one of the most famous science fiction series ever because of how exciting the stories are. But the stories wouldn't be the same without a lot of beautiful women. Fans love all the smoking hot ladies who have been on the show over the years, whether they were humans or aliens. If you need a reminder, these Star Trek chicks are hotter than Venus's atmosphere. Keep watching to see what they look like now. Spoiler, they're still beautiful. And find out what all the fuss was about. Susan Oliver as Vina. The people who made Star Trek did the right thing by putting one of the hottest women ever in the pilot show to get people to watch. Susan Oliver's first role was as Vina, who went on to become one of the most famous female characters in the series. The first time we saw Vina was in the pilot episode called The Cage. She could make things look like they weren't real, and she could change into an exotic green girl who could dance pretty well. There's a secret sorrow behind every beautiful woman. When Oliver was cast, the event that would change her life had not yet happened. Susan Oliver. Susan Oliver has been in a lot of TV shows since she was on Star Trek. These shows include Peyton Place, MASH, and Gunsmoke. Oliver was also a key actress on the soap series Days of Our Lives, which earned her an Emmy nod for Outstanding Performance by a Supporting Actress. She became interested in flying and was working toward getting her pilot's license. She almost died twice when she was on a plane, which is ironic because she became so afraid of flying that she turned down jobs and even went to hypnosis to get over her fears. She died in 1990 when she was 58 years old. Sherry Jackson as Andrea. In the first season of Star Trek, the episode What Are Little Girls Made Of featured Sherry Jackson. Andrea wasn't a real person. A doctor who had gone crazy created her. Why would a crazy scientist make a pretty girl? Gives us chills to ask. Andrea could copy what she saw, but she couldn't show how people feel. Even though she was very pretty, that probably meant she was a bad date. Captain Kirk used Andrea as a test subject. Kirk gave her a kiss in the show, but she wasn't that into it because she couldn't feel human emotions. Kirk, whom she had a crush on, gave her the power to feel later on. In the end, though, she gets killed later in the show. The next pretty Star Trek girl was also in Batman and Playboy. She is still beautiful, of course. Sherry Jackson. Sherry's whole family was in show business. Her mother, Kathleen Gilbert, was very supportive of her work, and when Sherry was young, she gave her classes in acting, singing, and dancing. Sherry and her mother moved to Los Angeles after her father died. This is where, when she was only 7 years old, she got her first part in a full-length movie. On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, there's a star for Sherry. In addition to her work on Star Trek, the actress appeared in Batman, My Three Sons, Wild Wild West, and even Playboy magazine. Jackson also had a full life outside work. She dated business leader Fletcher R. Jones for 5 years until he died in a plane crash in 1972. Jackson sued his estate and asked for more than $1 million, but she was turned down. Jeri Ryan as 7 of 9. Jeri Ryan was one of the sexiest people ever to appear on TV. She played the role of 7 of 9 in Star Trek. The name sounds like it could be some kind of card game, but it fits very well. 7 of 9 used to be a Borg. She was probably the 7th of 9 children. She was freed in the end, and then she tried to learn everything she could about her human side. 7 of 9 was one of those figures who had to deal with a problem inside of them. She was a Borg who was trying to find out who she was. Not only that, but she wore a tight leotard like no one else. You go, girl. Jeri Ryan today. For her part as 7 of 9, Jeri Ryan was nominated for a Saturn Award 4 times, and she won the award once. Even though she's 52 years old, the actress is still very beautiful. Since Star Trek, Ryan has been a regular on Dark Skies, Shark, and Body of Proof, where she played Dr. Kate Murphy. She's a great cook when she's not playing. She's been on Iron Chef America and says she loves making fancy food. Lois Jewell as Drusilla. In the Series 2 episode called Bread and Circuses, Lois Jewell played the beautiful Drusilla. In this episode, Captain Kirk is in jail, and Drusilla is sent to take care of him. In this episode, she said that she would give Captain Kirk his last hours as a man. This was done in a very vague way to protect the ears of kids who watched Star Trek at the time. Drusilla told Kirk that she was ordered to please him. This could have been one of the most racist Star Trek shows ever. You can probably guess what happened after they kissed. Drusilla is a well-kept blonde hottie. She's a slave girl in wealthy Roman household. Her character isn't much more than a notch on Kirk's belt, which is a shame. Lois Jewell. Lois Jewell's playing career was the shortest of all Star Trek babes. Lois Jewell was in the cast of The Flying Nun after she was on Star Trek in 1966. Jewell was a fashion and cosmetics model in New York and Europe before starting acting. She moved to California and went to a modeling agency, but instead of getting modeling jobs, she was cast in acting parts. Like Maggie Threat, Jewell decided that she didn't want to work in show business. She started a business with her husband, who was a cartoon artist. He died in 2014 when he was 76 years old. Marina Sirtis as Deanna Troi. In Star Trek The Next Generation, Marina Sirtis played the part of Deanna Troi. On the Enterprise, Deanna Troi worked as a psychologist. She could tell how people were feeling. Really, who would want that ability? Most people remembered Deanna Troi because she had a great body, long hair that flowed, and a leotard that was very tight. The top of the costume she was wearing was also cut low to show off what was already clear. We're not creepy enough to say she has a good rack, but you're killing it, girl. Given that counseling is a skilled job, there aren't many counselors who wear tight leotards. But Deanna, you do. Marina Sirtis. Marina Sirtis is one of the few Star Trek babes who stayed with the series and made a good living from it. Sirtis also played counselor Deanna Troi in 4 movies that came out after the TV show. When she was 31 years old, she moved from London to Los Angeles so she could be in Star Trek. Before joining Star Trek, Sirtis was born in Britain, acted in several controversial British movies. Even though she says she loves chick flicks, most of what she did after Star Trek was science fiction and murder mysteries. She's still making movies and TV shows. Maggie Threat as Ruth Bonaventure. Maggie Threat was hot as Ruth Bonaventure on TV in the first season's Mud's Women. Bonaventure had the most alluring eyes you could think of. In the episode, she and a few other women went with a con man named Harcourt Fenton Mudd as he swindled people and caused trouble all over the galaxy. Mudd gave the girls a drug called Venus Drug and tried to sell it to some lithium miners who were willing to pay for it. The storyline of this show is a bit risque. Human trafficking's no joke, and even by today's standards, this event would have been seen as very extreme. Maggie Threat. Threat was born in New York City, but she went to Hollywood to become an actress. Threat had roles in 3 in the Attic and Cover Me Babe after she was in Star Trek. Threat finally decided that she didn't want to work in show business. She used most of her funds to pay American International Pictures to get out of her deal. She got tired of going to auditions all the time and dealing with people in the business who wanted to date her. Threat has never looked back since she left Hollywood. The star's been married for 3 years and is very happy. Kirstie Alley as Saavik. Kirstie Alley may be one of the best-known actors to have appeared on Star Trek. In Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, she played Saavik for the first time. Saavik, like a lot of other alien women in the show, didn't have human feelings. She was a Vulcan, and she was also very hot. Because of her part in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Kirstie Alley probably got the chance to join the group Cheers. Fans liked Saavik because she was strong and pretty. But Kirstie Alley left the show because she couldn't get a good deal. Fans of Star Trek were very upset when Robin Curtis took over for Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley. Born in Kansas, Kirstie Alley had poor roots. Her dad ran a building business. After graduating from Kansas State University, Alley went to Los Angeles to study Scientology and work as an interior designer. Kirstie Alley's big break came with Star Trek, and she's been in the spotlight ever since. After Cheers, Alley had roles in several movies and TV shows. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and has won 2 Emmy Awards for her work. Even though Allie was a natural beauty, it was clear that she added weight over the years. Allie then got a job as a spokesman for Jenny Craig because of this. In 2016, she wrote that she liked Donald Trump, but later that year she took back her support. She sent out a tweet saying, "I hate this election and I'm no longer supporting either candidate." Allie left us on December 5th, 2022.